Thank you, David. I appreciate Senator Vitter and our colleagues here coming up with something, because when this hits, when people realize that we're out of energy in America, they're going to look back and say, why didn't somebody try to do something? Because we know what we're doing wrong now. Well, that's exactly what's in this bill, because they're approaching it all the way across. You know, it's kind of interesting when you look at the anti-energy bias that's in the current administration and the majority in both houses. You know, they don't want oil, they don't want gas, they don't want coal, they don't want nuclear. You know, how do you run this machine called America if you don't have any of that? And the answer is you can't. It's nice, and I'm very hopeful that sometime in the future we're going to have technology that's going to give us the renewables that we want. It's not there now. In the meantime, you're going to have to run. I looked at the omnibus bill just on what they do to the oil industry alone. And I have a handout here. A lot of this gets a little bit technical. I'm from an oil state, so I understand this a little bit better. But repealing the expensing of intangible drilling costs, repealing the percentage depletion allowance, these are things that put the oil industry out of business. My major concern is what it does to marginal production. We all talk about, and I agree, that we have tremendous reserves that we could be using over the offshore and other places in the shale and so forth. But we also have a thing called marginal production. 85% of the production in Oklahoma is marginal. That's 15 barrels or less a day. So there's special treatment for those people to keep them, try to keep them in business. If all this stuff that's out there right now is passed, you're going to have the problem of the thousands and thousands, in my state of Oklahoma alone, hundreds of thousands of mineral owners that are going to be penalized. And the same attitude, I just wish somewhere that we could learn from experience in this country. We know what Carter did back there in 1980. With his windfall profit tax, and we saw what happened to our ability to produce energy in America. So with all of these going on, we have to say at least there's a vehicle that we can all agree on and we can get this done. Lastly is this. As offended as most, not so many people in Washington, but people in the real world, out in Oklahoma and throughout across the country, are at the bailouts, at the omnibus bill, the trillions of dollars they're talking about right now. At least those are one-shot deals. What they're proposing now is a tax that I would refer to as a cap-and-trade tax. We know what it's going to cost. We went through this. This would be the 5th time that they tried to jam this down the throats of the American people. The first was the Kyoto Treaty. The second was the McCain-Lieberman bill. The third was the Warner-Lieberman bill. Then the Boxer-Sanders bill. And now it's going to be this, to try to impose upon the American people a tax called cap-and-trade. If they did this, we would be looking at a minimum of $300 billion a year. So while you may not like, and the American people may not like, what we did with the $787 billion or the $700 billion bailout, at least that's just once. This is a permanent, this would be the largest single permanent tax in the history of the world. And that's what they're going to try to do. And so we have an opportunity right now to do something about that. There is legislation here that addresses all of our energy needs, and at least we have an opportunity to get on record. So when the time comes and the rationing takes place and the tax increases that result from higher energy costs, at least we can say we gave it a shot. Maybe we'll be successful.